I thought this was really weird, especially since I think this person is saying because I'm not white, I shouldn't talk about Europeans. I'm like majority European. Argue with my credentials, argue with the facts. Let me know what I got wrong with a primary source, and we can talk. Hi, everyone. Danielle Romero here. Thank you so much for being with me here on my channel where we talk about American identity and family stories. And I like to do a video every now and then where I take some comments and I respond to them. Now, I'm not responding to the insane people who are typing insane things, but these are people who strongly disagree with me. And like I say on here, I'm open for conversation. I'm not politically motivated. I feel like, yeah, I'm not about the red blue divide at all. And so I want to have a conversation with you about who is allowed to study history, because I have definitely gotten into some conversations with folks who are angry with me. Let me read a couple of these comments. And there seem to be like 2 or 3 things that happen. One is someone is upset that I'm looking back on unfavorable history, which I can understand. Like it sucks to see negative stuff about your country. 2, people who say I'm not educated enough to speak on these. And 3, people who say I'm the wrong ethnic background to speak on these topics. Okay, so let's start with the first one. People are upset about this. So there was a comment, there are a lot of these comments, the Babe Ruth video, where someone was saying on and on and on. Every race on earth has experienced prejudice and slavery. Yes, even whites. There's nothing we can do to alter the past, but we are doing everything to ensure a better future. And yet, some just want to bang on about it without saying anything new or helpful. Give it a rest, yawn face. I think this is probably someone that didn't do really great in history class. And my response was just, sorry, I'm an American historian. What era am I allowed to research? I usually don't respond to all of these, but sometimes I do. Because as much as I know people like don't feed the trolls, all that, I get that. But I also am excited when I see people who disagree with me chilling on my page. Now, most of the time they did not watch the video. They saw the title, they were triggered, and they typed something that makes them look stupid because they didn't watch the video. That's fine. But I do want to try to engage people, because there is literally no point in having this channel if it's not something where we can be engaging with each other. I do wonder, what era am I allowed to study? Now, my training was in American history and Soviet history. I double majored. But my focus has always been American history. I love American history. When I was a little girl, I blame my dad. I love potato chips too, because he would open a bag of potato chips. He would have his sweetened iced tea, and we would watch Civil War documentaries together on PBS. He would be watching them. I can still hear, the music in my head from those documentaries. And I loved history because I love my dad and I wanted to be like him. And I love history on my own now. Like this is something so deep in me. But I do wonder, what era are we allowed to study? What am I allowed to study? And that leads into the second point, which is people telling me that I'm not trained or educated enough to do this. I don't like talking about the credentials I have, because I literally don't care about them. I think credentialism is a poison. And that would be the mindset of saying that what you have to say or think has no value unless you can prove that you paid for that information from an institution. I think that's ridiculous. Now, if you're operating on my eyes, I want you to have credentials, but we have to have a balance here where we can't be demanding credentials from people just because they have an opinion we don't like. And I think that's really hurting the discourse here. So I do have the credentials. I double majored in history. I went on and got my master's degree. I've had work published in peer-reviewed journals. I have done all kinds of things, but I don't need to be on here on blast talking about it. Some people get on their YouTube channel and they get on there, and as soon as they get on there, they have to be like, blah, 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 here's all the stuff I do. Here's how I'm a professional. It's like, that doesn't matter. You're a historian if you study history, period. Like, I don't need to know what you went to school for. I don't care what your diploma says. Mine just happens to say history because I've just always loved it and I wanted to continue studying it at a higher level. But you can do that without a diploma. And so I really resent when people try to try to do a gotcha by telling me that I'm not credentialed enough. Half the time, I don't even tell them that I am because I'm like, it just doesn't matter. Don't argue with my credentials, argue with the facts. Let me know what I got wrong with a primary source and we can talk. We're good, right? And so that's an encouragement, I hope, to anybody out there who's studying history. If you are studying history, you are a historian, right? The gatekeeping with academic stuff is just bizarre to me, and I don't like it. So that's point 2. Point 3 is are people who tell me that I'm the wrong background to talk about the history. Oh, this is one where I have to be like, step away from the computer, close the computer, don't feed the trolls, right? Because it's just so dumb. It is so dumb. It is so dumb. I want to read one of these comments. I'm going to put it on screen. This is about how the Finns became white in America. Now, did the Finns literally become white in America? No. And if you watched the video, you would know that. So let me read this comment. And why are you speaking on topics aimed towards European, Eurasian, or white peoples? If it was vice versa, people would definitely be called out. I assume you're mixed to whatever extent. My own is American-born, grandmother Mongol with other Asian DNA, as well as my grandmother's Russian, my mother's Czech, Polish, German, also have North Indian DNA in there. What is white? Define it. That's like a lot. I'm like, oh, okay, where are the periods in your thing there? And my response, are you one of those people who thinks historians are only allowed to speak on their own immediate ancestral history? Because that would be weird to enforce. Let's start with that. If you believe that only people who look a certain way or experienced a certain culture growing up are allowed to speak on a certain history, you're going to be in a really weird spot really fast. Again, history is for all of us. We all need to know each other's history, and other people can know our own history better than we do. That can happen. It's totally possible, right? None of us were born knowing this inherently, right? We had to learn it. And so I thought this was really weird, especially since I think this person is saying because I'm not white, I shouldn't talk about Europeans. I'm like majority European. So I don't totally know what they mean by that. Are they saying if it was vice versa, people would definitely be called out? I think they're saying if a white person was talking about like black topics, there would be a problem. So a black person shouldn't be talking about white topics. I'm like, what is that? Which again, just goes to show like trying to enforce that kind of stuff is just, I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. I know some of you guys are going to disagree with that. But if we want all of us to elevate our understanding, if all of us are going to elevate our understanding of each other and ourselves and our nation, our world, and real history, we have to stop gatekeeping history like that. It gets real weird. I think you get into real weird territory that you probably in your heart don't want to be in. So these are the 3 things that I think come up a lot. That you're not allowed to study certain eras because people don't like how that feels. And, you're not credentialed enough, or you're the wrong ethnicity to be studying that. All of these, which I just totally say, nope, I disagree with. I'm going to keep going on my merry way. But I would love to know your thoughts on this. I very rarely call myself a historian on here because I feel like it just feels like a little uppity. I don't feel like I need to do that. You know what I mean? But I am. And I think any of you who have been along with me on this journey are as well. You're taking time out of your day to learn about history. That's, to me, that's all that matters. So let me know what you think about this. And if you disagree, I welcome you here, and I hope you'll hang around. Otherwise, we'll talk soon.